These 12 low-cost foods can replace 90% of your grocery cart. Yet a lot of people still walk right past them and buy versions that cost several times more. Sometimes a simple egg and a bag of rice are worth more than an entire cart full of convenience foods. A full shopping cart does not necessarily feed a family better. A lot of people walk into the grocery store for a few essentials, but leave with snacks, sauces, cereal, and products that serve only one purpose. That is not a lack of discipline. That is how grocery stores make money. But the most important thing is not finding the cheapest item. It is understanding which foods can carry breakfast, lunch, and dinner along with them. And when we get to number 1, you will see why a budget-friendly kitchen does not need more food. It just needs the right foundation to make everything else work. 12. Eggs. Eggs may be the simplest food in the entire grocery store, but that ordinary food can replace a surprisingly large portion of the expensive items in many families' shopping carts. Think about a rushed morning. You stop by a store for a breakfast sandwich, a protein snack pack, or a frozen burrito just to grab something quick to eat. Just a few small items can easily cost $5 to $8. Meanwhile, for about the same amount of money, you can buy nearly a dozen eggs and create multiple meals throughout the week. One large egg provides about 6 grams of complete protein, along with all 9 essential amino acids that the body cannot produce on its own. But the real value of eggs is not just the protein, it is their versatility. Kids often enjoy fried eggs, scrambled eggs, egg sandwiches, or pancakes made with eggs. Older adults may prefer hard-boiled eggs, steamed eggs, egg drop soup, or a soft vegetable omelet. It is the same ingredient, but a different cooking method can turn it into something completely different. In the morning, a few hard-boiled eggs can replace a breakfast sandwich from a restaurant. At lunch, sliced eggs can make a salad more filling. At dinner, dropping an egg into soup, noodles, or fried rice can turn a simple dish into a real meal. A dozen eggs is not just a dozen eggs. It is breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, baking ingredients, salad toppings, protein for fried rice, and a quick solution for the days when you have no idea what to cook. A useful trick is to boil 6 eggs at the beginning of the week. Keep them in their shells in a sealed container, and you will have a ready-to-eat option for days. When you need them, just peel one, add a little salt and pepper, and eat it with bread, rice, salad, or fruit. It is faster than driving out to buy food, and much cheaper than a protein bar. Another tip is not to store eggs in the refrigerator door. The temperature there changes every time the door opens and closes. Instead, keep them on a middle shelf or toward the back, where the temperature stays more consistent. When stored properly, eggs can usually last about 3 to 5 weeks. If you are not sure whether an egg is still good, you can try the water test. Fresh eggs usually sink. Older eggs gradually float higher because more air has entered the shell over time. It is not a perfect method, but it is a very useful way to help prevent waste. The important thing is that eggs do not make you feel like you are eating on a budget. They quietly make meals easier to prepare, softer, tastier, and less expensive. Smart food is not the most expensive food. It is the food that keeps coming out of the refrigerator, keeps showing up on the dinner table, works for kids, works for older adults, and never ends up sitting in the trash. 11. Rice. What is interesting is that one of the cheapest foods in the grocery store is also the one that makes almost every other ingredient more valuable. A 20-pound bag of rice sitting in a shopping cart often makes people hesitate. Spending $15 or $20 on something that looks so simple can sometimes feel more expensive than a frozen pizza or a few servings of prepared food. But if you look at it that way, you are judging rice by its purchase price, not by the value it creates. Try breaking down the numbers. A 20-pound bag of rice can provide roughly 300 servings, which comes out to about 5 cents per serving. In the entire grocery store, there are very few foods that are this inexpensive, this filling, and this capable of pairing with almost any ingredient. A bowl of hot rice can turn a single egg into a complete breakfast. A few leftover chicken thighs from the night before can become lunch for the whole family. Add a can of tuna, a few spoonfuls of beans, or some frozen vegetables, and you have a full dinner without buying a single convenience food. That is why many budget-conscious families do not save money by eating less. They simply know how to turn every dollar into more meals. Another advantage is that rice creates almost no pressure to use it right away. Today it can be plain white rice. Tomorrow it can become egg-fried rice. By the weekend, it can turn into a warm rice porridge or fried rice with vegetables and garlic. Change just a few ingredients, and you have an entirely different meal without feeling like you are eating the same thing over and over. And if you want that bag of rice to become an even better investment, there is one very simple tip. Do not leave an opened paper bag sitting in the corner of the kitchen. After bringing it home, transfer the rice into airtight containers or food-grade buckets with lids. Store them in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. If you have a smaller household, keep a separate container for everyday use and leave the bulk of the rice sealed. That way, the entire supply is not exposed to air and moisture every time you scoop some out, helping maintain quality for a very long time. That is also why many people always keep a bag of rice at home without feeling any pressure to use it up. It patiently waits until you need it, instead of forcing you to change your plans because food might go bad. There is an interesting rule when it comes to grocery shopping. The best foods are often not the ones that stand out the most on the shelf. They quietly make every ingredient around them more useful. And rice is one of the clearest examples. It does not just help you save money. If all you had at home was one egg, a little meat, a few handfuls of frozen vegetables, and a bowl of hot rice, what meal would you make to keep the whole family full without another trip to the grocery store? 10. Dry beans. When you buy a can of beans, you are not really paying for nutrition. You are paying for water, a metal can, and a few minutes of convenience. And that is exactly how grocery stores turn a very inexpensive food into something that costs several times more, without most people even noticing. A can of beans looks cheap, but compared to dry beans, much of that cost is not going toward protein or fiber. It is going toward the soaking liquid, the packaging, transportation, and the feeling that you saved some time. Meanwhile, a 1-pound bag of dry beans often costs around $2 and can yield about 6 to 7 cups of cooked beans after soaking and cooking. That is no longer a side dish. That is multiple meals. 1 cup of cooked black beans can provide about 15 grams of protein and roughly 15 grams of fiber. For many adults, that amount of fiber alone is close to, or even more than, what they eat in an entire day. And when protein comes paired with fiber, a meal does more than fill you up in the moment. It keeps you satisfied longer and helps reduce the urge to reach for snacks, cookies, or convenience foods after dinner. Dry beans can replace more things than most people realize. They can replace several cans of beans. They can replace a store-bought soup. They can replace part of the meat in a pot of chili. They make tacos, salads, rice dishes, soups, and stews more filling without requiring more meat. The step that scares people away the most is soaking the beans. But in reality, it is one of the easiest things you can do in the kitchen. Before going to bed, pour the beans into a bowl of water. The next morning, drain the old water and cook them. Most of the work happened while you were asleep. And when beans meet rice, the two cheapest foods in the kitchen become a surprisingly powerful meal. Rice provides what beans lack. Beans provide what rice is missing. Together, they create a complete protein source with all the essential amino acids. Add some onion, garlic, a little olive oil, or a few spoonfuls of canned tomatoes, and you have a hot meal that is inexpensive, filling, and does not feel like budget food at all. That is the most important point. Smart food does not make you feel deprived. It makes you realize that many of the expensive products in a shopping cart are simply repackaging things a basic kitchen has been doing for generations. For better storage, transfer dry beans into jars or airtight containers. Keep them in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight, and write the purchase date on the lid. The longer dry beans sit, the longer they may take to cook. So rotating your supply regularly helps them taste better and reduces waste. Some foods do not need advertising because they have been doing their job for hundreds of years. Dry beans are one of them. If all you had at home was rice, beans, an onion, and a few seasonings, what would you cook to turn a few dollars into a dinner that could feed the whole family? 9. Potatoes. Potatoes have been blamed for a lot of diets over the years. But honestly, the problem was never the potato itself. The problem is how grocery stores and restaurants turn a 50-cent potato into a bag of chips, a box of frozen fries, a loaded potato covered in toppings, or an expensive side dish that you end up buying again and again every week. A plain potato is not flashy. It does not have a superfood label. It does not come in attractive packaging. It does not promise weight loss. But it does something incredibly important. It makes meals more filling for very little money. A medium potato can contain around 620 milligrams of potassium, often more than a banana. It is also one of the most filling foods you can eat. This is the part many people overlook. A cheap food is only truly cheap if it keeps you full. If you are reaching into the pantry for snacks an hour later, it is not really saving you money. Potatoes are different. A baked potato can become the foundation of an entire dinner. Add a few spoonfuls of black beans, some frozen vegetables, sautéed onions, and a little black pepper, and you have a hot, filling meal at a very low cost. Dice potatoes into a soup, and they help stretch the meat further. Mash them with a little butter or olive oil, and they become a soft, comforting dish that works for both kids and older adults. Cube them and cook them in a skillet with onions and garlic, and they turn into a breakfast that can replace frozen hash browns. That is the difference between an ingredient and a product. An ingredient gives you control. A product charges you for having someone else do the easiest part. Potatoes are also practical for families trying to reduce waste. When stored in a dark, cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, potatoes can last for weeks, sometimes even months. Do not store them next to onions. Do not keep them near a hot stove. And do not put them in the refrigerator unless you absolutely have to. A properly stored bag of potatoes can turn into many different meals instead of spoiling quickly like bagged salads or delicate leafy greens. What is worth mentioning is that potatoes do not force you to eat bland food. They simply ask you to start with the most basic ingredient. After that, you decide what it becomes. Soup, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, stew, skillet breakfast potatoes, or a side dish for chicken thighs. Potatoes do not drive up the grocery bill. The processed versions of potatoes do. If all you had tonight were a few potatoes, some beans, frozen vegetables, onions, and garlic, what would you turn them into so the whole family could still sit down to a hot meal without ordering takeout? 8. Oats. A simple bowl of oatmeal often does a better job than those colorful boxes of cereal. In the morning, A lot of people choose cereal because it is fast. Pour it into a bowl, add milk, and finish breakfast in a few minutes. The problem is that by around 10 a.m., the hunger comes back. And that is when a muffin, a protein bar, a pack of cookies, or a second cup of coffee starts showing up on the bill. Oats do not win because of how they look. They win because they keep you full longer. A large container of oats usually costs around $4 and can make close to 30 meals, which works out to about 13 cents per serving. But the real savings are not just in that bowl of breakfast. They are in the things you no longer need to buy afterward. Oats contain beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that helps slow digestion and may help lower LDL cholesterol when eaten regularly. Put simply, it helps your breakfast stick with you longer. A warm bowl of oatmeal with sliced bananas, a spoonful of peanut butter, or a few pieces of apple can provide much steadier energy than many sweetened cereals. No quick sugar spike followed by a mid-morning crash. No feeling of, "I just ate. Why am I hungry again already?" And oats do not belong only in a breakfast bowl. Blend them into pancake batter. Add them to smoothies to make drinks thicker and more filling. Mix them into meatballs or meatloaf to help retain moisture. Use them in banana bread, oatmeal cookies, or sprinkle them over yogurt instead of buying expensive granola. It is one inexpensive ingredient that can replace cereal, snack bars, pancake mix, granola, and even some of those mid-morning snacks. A useful tip is to transfer oats into an airtight jar or container after opening the package. Store them in a cool, dry place away from the stove. If you buy larger bags, divide them into smaller portions to help protect them from moisture and preserve their flavor and quality. A 13-cent bowl of oatmeal does not just replace breakfast. It replaces those moments at 10 a.m. when hunger comes back and you end up buying something else just to get through the morning. What do you usually eat for breakfast? And does it actually keep you full until lunch? 7. Frozen vegetables. Not every vegetable has to die in the refrigerator by Friday. A lot of people buy fresh vegetables with the best intentions. A bag of salad, a bunch of spinach, a few heads of broccoli, some green beans, a couple of bell peppers. Sitting in the shopping cart, it all looks like a week of healthy eating. But life does not always follow the meal plan. You get home late one night. The next day, something unexpected comes up. One dinner gets replaced with takeout. By the weekend, the salad is starting to wilt. The spinach has gone limp, and the broccoli is changing color. At that point, you are not just throwing away vegetables. You are throwing away money. About 31% of fresh vegetables purchased end up never being eaten. It is one of the most overlooked sources of waste in many grocery budgets. Frozen vegetables solve that problem in a very practical way. They are often harvested at peak ripeness and then quickly flash frozen to help preserve quality and nutrition. You do not have to race against the clock. You do not have to force yourself to cook everything within the first couple of days. And you do not have to feel guilty when dinner plans change. The biggest advantage of frozen vegetables is that you use exactly what you need. Need half a cup of peas and carrots for a bowl of fried rice? Take half a cup. Need a handful of broccoli for a pot of soup? Take a handful. The rest stays in the freezer waiting for the next meal. No washing, no chopping, no throwing away half a bunch of vegetables because you live alone or cook for only 2 people. Frozen vegetables also make all the inexpensive foods we've already talked about much better in a matter of seconds. Rice, eggs, beans, potatoes, and pasta all benefit from vegetables. Add 1 handful of frozen vegetables, and the meal stops feeling like something you threw together just to get by. It starts feeling like a real dinner. A simple tip: after opening the bag, squeeze out as much air as possible before sealing it again, or transfer the vegetables into a container with a lid. This helps reduce freezer burn, keeps the vegetables tasting better, and makes it easier to use small portions at a time. The best vegetables are not the ones that look the prettiest under grocery store lights. They are the ones you actually cook, actually eat, and never have to apologize to before throwing them in the trash. What vegetable gets forgotten most often in your kitchen before it ever makes it to the dinner table? 6. Bananas. A banana changes from day to day, and each stage has a different job. A container of berries may look beautiful when you buy it, but just a few days later, it can become soft, watery, and lose its value very quickly. Bananas are different. They do not become useless when they ripen. They simply move into a new role. At many stores, a banana costs around 25 cents. For that small amount of money, you get a natural snack that is easy to take anywhere. No washing, no knife, no plastic container, and no marketing package needed to prove its value. A medium banana contains about 420 milligrams of potassium, an important mineral for blood pressure, muscles, and heart function. But the real value of bananas is that they have more than one life. When they are still slightly green, they contain more resistant starch, which can support digestion and help you stay full longer. When they turn yellow, they become softer, sweeter, and easier for kids, older adults, or anyone looking for a quick snack. Once brown spots begin to appear, many people assume they are overripe. In reality, that is when they move into their next job. Ripe bananas can sweeten oatmeal without much added sugar. They can be blended into smoothies, mashed into pancakes, muffins, banana bread, or oatmeal cookies. And if you are not ready to use them yet, simply peel them, slice them up, and place them in a freezer bag. A banana that looks like it is about to be thrown away can become part of next week's breakfast. Bananas can replace snack bars, oatmeal toppings, frozen smoothie packs, part of the sugar in baked goods, and sometimes even dessert after dinner. Smart foods have more than one life. When the bananas in your kitchen start getting too ripe, do you throw them away or turn them into smoothies, banana bread, or something else? 5. Canned tomatoes. Sometimes the version in a can does a better job than the one sitting in the produce aisle. Many people still assume fresh food is always better than canned food. But when it comes to tomatoes, that is not always true. Fresh tomatoes are only truly great during a relatively short part of the year. Outside of that season, many tomatoes look beautiful in the store but turn out bland, watery, and nearly flavorless once you cut into them. You end up paying more for appearance than for actual quality. Canned tomatoes are often harvested when fully ripe and then processed quickly to preserve a consistent flavor year-round. The heating process used during canning can also make the lycopene in tomatoes easier for the body to absorb. That means the little can is not nearly as inferior as many people assume. A 28-ounce can of tomatoes often costs less than $2, yet it can be the difference between cooking dinner at home and placing an expensive takeout order. Picture a night when you are tired, the refrigerator is almost empty, and you are about to open a food delivery app. But sitting in the pantry are some pasta, a few cloves of garlic, an onion, and a can of tomatoes. 20 minutes later, you have a pot of hot sauce instead of a $25 bill. Add garlic and onions, and you have pasta sauce. Add beans and seasonings, and it becomes chili. Add eggs, and it turns into shakshuka. Add broth and frozen vegetables, and you have a hot soup. Use it to braise chicken thighs, cook it with potatoes, toss it with pasta, or spoon it over rice, and each time it becomes something different. A bottle of prepared sauce usually has one purpose. A can of tomatoes is a foundation. You decide what it becomes. Canned tomatoes typically last about 1 to 2 years in the pantry. A useful tip is to keep a few different varieties on hand. diced tomatoes for soups and chili, crushed tomatoes for pasta sauces, and tomato paste for dishes that need a richer flavor. A can of tomatoes is not just an ingredient. It is the foundation for inexpensive dinners that are hot, easy to make, and good enough that you never feel the need to open the food delivery app. In your kitchen, do canned tomatoes usually end up in pasta, soup, chili, or a favorite family recipe? 4. Chicken thighs. Chicken breasts get more attention, but chicken thighs are often the smarter choice. There is a very interesting reason why so many chefs keep choosing the less expensive part of the chicken. It is not because they are trying to save a few dollars. It is because chicken thighs are remarkably hard to ruin. Chicken breast can become dry and crumbly if it is cooked just a few minutes too long. Chicken thighs are different. They contain more natural fat, stay more tender, and hold on to their juiciness even if they spend a little extra time in the oven. That is why so many great dinners start with one of the most overlooked cuts of meat. At around $2 to $3 per pound, chicken thighs do more than lower the grocery bill. They also increase the value of many other foods in the kitchen. Tonight, a few roasted chicken thighs served with rice and frozen vegetables. Tomorrow, the leftovers become a rice bowl with black beans and a little tomato. By the weekend, the shredded meat finds its way into a pot of hot soup, and in the end, the bones can go on to make a flavorful pot of bone broth. One purchase, multiple meals. That is what real savings look like. What is interesting is that chicken thighs require very little cooking skill. A little salt, pepper, garlic, and olive oil are often enough to create a meal that tastes better than many prepared foods. If you buy them in bulk, divide them into meal-sized portions before freezing. Having each bag sized for a single meal makes it easier to thaw exactly what you need, reduces waste, and saves time on busy days. Chicken thighs do not try to be a fancy ingredient. They simply keep showing up meal after meal while still making everyone at the table happy. Better tasting food often helps you spend less money. For your family, would crispy roasted chicken thighs, chicken soup, or a rice bowl topped with shredded chicken be the meal everyone would happily eat? 3. Peanut butter. This may be the most underrated source of protein in the entire grocery store. Picture 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You have finished work, you are getting a little hungry, but it is not dinner time yet. That is also when a lot of people open a bag of chips, grab a few cookies, or stop by a store for a protein bar that costs a few dollars. Meanwhile, there is a much simpler option sitting right in the kitchen. A spoonful of peanut butter. At roughly 15 cents per serving, it provides about 8 grams of protein along with healthy fats that help keep you full longer. It does not give you that quick burst of energy followed by hunger again an hour later like many sugary snacks. What makes peanut butter special is not just the nutrition. It is the number of ways it can show up throughout the day. Spread it on toast. Stir it into oatmeal. Blend it with a banana for a smoothie. Eat it with sliced apples. Use it as a topping for pancakes. Or simply enjoy a spoonful after lunch to help carry you through to dinner without reaching for more snacks. That is the kind of savings you rarely notice on a grocery receipt. You are not saving money on the jar of peanut butter itself. You are saving money on all the random snacks and impulse purchases you no longer make. A useful tip is to stir the jar well when you first open it, then keep it in the refrigerator if you are using natural peanut butter. That helps prevent the oil from separating too quickly. Each time you use it, take only what you need, and the flavor will stay consistent while reducing waste. What is interesting is that many expensive foods serve only one purpose. A jar of peanut butter can be breakfast, a snack, a baking ingredient, a smoothie addition, and even a simple dessert for kids. One small spoonful can prevent a surprising number of unplanned purchases. If you could keep only one snack in your kitchen, would you choose peanut butter, mixed nuts, or packaged protein bars? 2. Onions and garlic. A lot of great meals around the world begin with the same sound. The sound of onions hitting a hot pan. The smell of garlic blooming in a little oil. Just a few seconds of that is enough to make the kitchen feel like a real dinner is on the way, even when you have only a handful of simple ingredients left. A pound of onions often costs around 80 cents. A head of garlic in many places costs less than $1. Yet there are very few inexpensive foods that can transform so many other ingredients the way they do. A bowl of plain rice becomes less bland. A pot of beans becomes more flavorful. A bowl of soup gains more depth. A plate of pasta tastes richer. A serving of roasted chicken thighs becomes more appealing without needing bottled sauces. This is where many people start losing money without realizing it. They buy prepared sauces, seasoning blends, marinades, dressings, and all kinds of bottles and jars, just to do something onions and garlic have been doing extremely well for generations. Building flavor from the ground up. Onions and garlic do not make food fancy. They make food taste homemade. A simple tip: do not store onions next to potatoes because they can cause each other to spoil faster. Both onions and garlic should be kept in a dry, dark, well-ventilated place. If you peel a large amount of garlic at once, you can mince it and freeze it in small portions for busy days when you need it quickly. The most valuable thing about onions and garlic is that they do not require you to buy more ingredients. They make the ingredients you already have taste better. A little rice, some beans, a can of tomatoes, a handful of frozen vegetables, a portion of leftover chicken. The moment onions and garlic start sizzling in the pan, those ingredients become something completely different. Great flavor does not have to come from a bottle. In your family, which meal would lose the most flavor if onions and garlic disappeared from the recipe? 1. Extra virgin olive oil. This may be the one bottle in the kitchen that makes inexpensive ingredients memorable. It is not the cheapest item on this list, but it may be the one that helps make sure all the other affordable foods actually get eaten. A good bottle of olive oil does not save money because it is cheap. It saves money because it makes you want to eat the simple foods already sitting in your kitchen. Beans, vegetables, pasta, bread, potatoes, tomatoes, eggs, and chicken thighs. A little extra virgin olive oil can make roasted vegetables more flavorful, beans richer and smoother, pasta less dry, salads less boring, and bread feel like a simple but deeply satisfying meal. That is why olive oil has always been a staple of the Mediterranean way of eating, where foundational foods like vegetables, beans, grains, fish, and olive oil come together to create more sustainable meals. Extra virgin olive oil also contains natural compounds, such as oleocanthal, which is often discussed for its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. But in an everyday kitchen, its greatest value is much simpler. It makes inexpensive food taste so good that you stop feeling like you are eating on a budget. A simple tip: choose olive oil in a dark bottle and store it in a cool place, away from direct light and away from the stove. Heat and light can cause the oil to lose flavor more quickly. A good bottle of olive oil should not sit on a decorative shelf. It should be protected so it lasts longer and tastes better. After going through this entire list, one thing becomes clear. Eggs, rice, beans, potatoes, oats, frozen vegetables, bananas, canned tomatoes, chicken thighs, peanut butter, onions, garlic, and olive oil are not flashy foods, but when they come together, they can create dozens of different meals at a fraction of the cost. Grocery stores are always trying to sell you complete products, But the most budget-friendly kitchens are built on foundational ingredients. If you could keep only one ingredient to make every meal taste better, would you choose olive oil, butter, or another cooking fat? What is most interesting about today's list is that almost none of these foods look special. No flashy packaging, no superfood claims, no labels promising miracles. Just ingredients that have helped feed millions of families for generations. When you build your grocery cart around foods that can do more than one job, something interesting starts to happen. Your grocery bill gets smaller. Less food ends up being thrown away. Meals become easier to put together, and you stop feeling like you have to keep running back to the grocery store. That is not about buying less. It is about buying smarter.